Good evening, family. Welcome to today's episode of Wednesdays with Pastor K. What a joy it is to be your host today. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Please indicate in the comments if you can hear me and if you can see me. And if you are happy with the quality of my video, please let me know so that we can proceed and dish out what I have for today. Awesome stuff, awesome stuff. Happy Wednesday night, and I'm happy to spend the next few moments of my time with you. Please do the following for me: like the feed, share the feed, comment, and let's interact together throughout the session. Participate, don't be just a spectator. Also, engage with questions in the comments if you might have a question concerning what we are discussing today. Last week, we could not continue with our stream due to technical glitches. We had quite a challenge with the connection last week. Even today, I struggled before I could connect now, but thank you for tuning in still. I'm so excited to be your host today, and I believe we're going to have an awesome time. Awesome. Praise the living God. Um, I got to give you feedback of what we've discussed 2 weeks back when we were talking about the root of jealousy. So I did a quick recap last week before I started with the topic that I had for you last week. And today, I want us to talk about why some people struggle with saying, I'm sorry. There are people who struggle to say, I am sorry. And that's what we're going to discuss today. But I just want to quickly welcome the people that are watching, and we're going to proceed with today's topic. Let's see who do we have online today. I see we have my wife watching on Facebook. Welcome, welcome, wifey. Good to see you. And we have also Osje Kwikunupi watching on Facebook. Welcome, daughter. Good to see you. And we have also Mokhadi Ayanda watching on Facebook. Good to see you. Welcome, daughter. And YouTube is not yet showing here, but I believe that people have logged in. And we have also Aus Matapelo watching on Facebook. Welcome, Aus. Good to see you. Good evening. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, and we will continue to greet others as they climb in. Welcome to today's episode. And I want us to talk about why some people struggle to say I'm sorry. I'm sure you've been around people who struggle to say I'm sorry, even when they have done something wrong, even when they have offended you. But these are the people who struggle to say I'm sorry. We get a number of people like that. There's always someone like that who struggles to say I'm sorry. And we have to understand that apologies play a crucial role in maintaining harmony and fostering meaningful connections. There are connections that uh, um, had to go down the drain today because people were not um, humble enough to say I'm sorry, if I may put it that way. People were not interested enough to say I'm sorry for what I've done to you, or what I said to you, or what I said about you. And you'll always find people like that. But today I want us to really drill into the subject, because you might be experiencing such of people who are unable to say they are sorry, people who always find an excuse instead of saying, you know what, I own up to my mistake, I own up to my mishap, I truly hurt you, and I just want to say I'm sorry. There are very few people who've got the guts to do that. There are very few people who have the courage to say that. Welcome, welcome, Peladi. Peladi is watching on Facebook. Welcome, Peladi. Good to see you. And we have also Christina Ngosi watching on YouTube. Welcome, my daughter. Good to see you. We've got Brother Jabu Marema watching on Facebook. Welcome, son. Good to see you. So, yet we often find ourselves hesitating to utter those two simple words, I'm sorry. There are many people who hesitate to do that. And some people can never admit they were wrong, no matter the circumstance. There are people who just cannot admit they were wrong, because at times we have to lower ourselves and come forward and say, I am really sorry for what I've done to you. I am really sorry for what I've said to you or said about you. We have to come to that level. That's humility. That's humility. Many people have destroyed meaningful relationships or connections because of their inability to say sorry. Because of their inability to say sorry. Instead of saying sorry, they were unable to do that. And as a result, this became an inability in their lives. Failing to apologize is failing to acknowledge your wrongdoings or hurtful actions towards others. Yeah. Welcome, Tolani Makutulela is watching on YouTube. Welcome, Sam. Good to see you. We also have DJ Makatala watching on YouTube. Welcome, sir. Good to see you. So, things you will pick up in people who feel too big to apologize. There are people who feel too big to apologize. They can't lower themselves. They feel they're too big to apologize. And these are the signs you will pick up from them. Number one, they would rather blame it on others or circumstances. Instead of owning up and saying, I'm sorry, they will rather blame it on others or they will blame it on circumstances. And they will avoid owning up to their actions. By doing so, they evade the need to confront the consequences of their behavior. And we've come across many people like that who will not own up to their behavior, and they will rather play the blame game, or they will also blame it on the circumstances to say, you know what, I wouldn't have done that if somebody did not do this to me. You know, they always find something to hold on to instead of purely saying, I'm sorry, I did you wrong, I'm sorry. They justify, number two, they justify their actions with explanations. That's number two. They justify their actions with explanations, such as, I was stressed, so that's why I behaved that way. That's why I said that. So I was stressed, so please forgive me. They don't really want to own up to say, I'm really sorry. They will rather say, I was tired, I did not hear myself, or they will say, somebody provoked me, that's why I ended up behaving that way. Or they will say, you started it. So they will shift it back at you. They will throw it back at you and say, you started the whole thing, instead of owning up to their mistakes, owning up to their wrongdoings. No, they will say, you have started it, therefore don't blame me for having behaved the way I behaved or for having said what I said to you. Number three, they downplay the consequences of their actions on others. They downplay the consequences of their actions on others. Knowing very well that you were hurt by what they said, you were hurt by what they've done to you, but they will downplay the consequences of what they've done to you because they feel that they are very important for them to say sorry. They are very important to say sorry. Therefore, they can't say sorry. They will hold on to that thing of saying, you know what, I was right. I was not wrong. I was not wrong, and I will not apologize. And there are not very many people who are able to say, I apologize, who are able to say those few words to say, I am sorry. Welcome, men of God. Good to see you. Gift Bennett Mabunda is watching as well on Facebook. And we have also Refilia Marema watching on Facebook. Welcome, daughter. And we have Mr. Bafana Ngosi watching on Facebook. Welcome, son. Good to see you. So at times it becomes difficult to have the courage to come forward and say, I'm sorry. Because many people feel vulnerable when they say sorry. Many people feel that it makes them weak, therefore they cannot do it. So one of the things you will pick up, they will use terms like, you are overreacting, instead of them saying, I'm sorry. They will say, yeah, but you are overreacting. This you shouldn't be complaining about this. You shouldn't be making a big deal out of this. So they undermine your being hurt. They undermine your feeling that you were hurt by them, and they don't want to own up to that. They will use terms like I said now, you are overreacting, or maybe they will say, you are too sensitive. You are too sensitive. Or they will say, you are exaggerating the situation. And all they can say is simply say, I'm sorry for what I've done. I'm sorry for hurting your feelings. There are not many people who can do that. Number 4, they offer unauthentic apologies. They offer unauthentic apologies. If they say they apologize, they do it unauthentically. What do I mean? They will say, I'm sorry if you feel that way. Instead of saying, I'm sorry, I know I've hurt you. They will say, I'm sorry you feel that way. Or, I'm sorry if I offended you. Meaning that they don't really feel that they have offended you. But they say, I'm sorry if I have offended you. Mind that if. Mind that if. I'm sorry if I have offended you. That's not good. That's not good. By so doing, they deflect responsibility onto others' emotions rather than addressing their actions. Like I said, you can simply say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I've hurt you. I'm sorry. I take ownership of what I've done to you, and I am sorry. Welcome, Shasha. Good to see you. It's been a while, Shasha. It's been a while. Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Shasha is saying it's been a while. By God's grace, I'm back owning up. Wow. It's a monster to most people. Absolutely. It is, definitely. Number 5, they don't want to end their forgiveness. They feel that they just deserve their forgiveness. They don't want to end it, because the moment you lower yourself and you come forward, you say, I'm sorry. A person that you have offended or a person that you have hurt, them accepting your forgiveness is you ending that forgiveness. But there are people who don't want to end their forgiveness. They expect forgiveness without expressing genuine regret. They don't show any remorse. They don't show any regret. They've hurt you, so what? They've said this about you, so what? They've said this to you, so what? They don't want to express their genuine regret to the person they've offended or showing any intention to change their behavior. Number 6, they pretend that nothing happened. Have you come across people like that? People who have really hurt you. They've done you wrong. But instead of saying sorry, they will pretend they've never hurt you. They will pretend nothing happened. And that's so sad. That's very sad, because at times we hurt people and our pride does not allow us to say, I'm sorry. Number 7, they enter into denial mode. They enter into denial mode. They believe they have done nothing wrong. That's how they operate. They believe they've done nothing wrong. They are in a denial mode, and they don't feel they've done anything wrong. Therefore, they're not going to say anything. And those are the things you will pick up in people who feel too big to apologize. Let's talk about, why do many people avoid saying sorry? Why do people avoid saying sorry? Because we've just discussed the signs you will pick up in people who don't want to say sorry. But why do people avoid saying sorry? Number 1, saying sorry makes you vulnerable. That's where the problem is. It makes you vulnerable. There are people who don't want to be vulnerable. There are people who look at vulnerability as a weakness. Some people view apologizing as a sign of weakness. And saying I'm sorry is taking ownership for your actions. There's no weakness there. There's no weakness there. Actually, it's you becoming a bigger man. It's you becoming a person who's responsible with people's feelings. We must always take an opportunity to say, I'm sorry. So, number 1, they feel that saying sorry makes you vulnerable. That's why they avoid saying sorry. Number 2, saying sorry causes you to lower yourself. It causes you to lower yourself. Therefore, they won't do it, because they feel that they are lowering themselves, and it bruises one's ego. That's what saying sorry will do, or apologizing will do. It will bruise your ego, because at times, people that we have to say sorry to, you may find that you are an older person and You have to say sorry to a younger person. And I'm telling you, it will bruise your ego. It will bruise your ego. And also, they want to protect their ego. That's why they never say sorry. They want to protect their ego. Welcome, welcome, men of God. Gift says, powerful, sir. Pastor K, we are learning more. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. Ayanda Mukhadi says, saying I'm sorry requires acknowledging one's mistakes, taking responsibility for harm caused, and being willing to make amends, but most apologize to push the matter away and not saying it sincerely. Others fear being seen as weak or losing control over a situation. As a result, many individuals opt for excuses, justifications, or even denial rather than taking the courageous step of offering a sincere apology. I've picked up a few things that I sometimes do which I never knew is wrong. I'll rectify my mistake. Thank you, Dan. That's Ayanda Mukhadi sharing her side of the story concerning this thing of not being able to say sorry to others. And also, number two, saying sorry causes you to lower yourself. Okay, I've already shared that. Number three, saying sorry is taking responsibility for our actions. And there are many people who don't want to take responsibility for their actions. And as a result, they remain at that level of offense, of having offended others, and they never own up to their mistake or they never own up to their behavior. And number four, it causes you to be accountable to the person you are apologizing to. That is why many people don't say sorry, because it causes you to be accountable to the person you are apologizing to. Number five, why do many people avoid saying sorry? It's a threat to their self-image. That's why they never say sorry. Some people, their self-image is so important that they are not prepared to come down to another person's level by saying sorry. They resort to self-defense instead. They will defend themselves. They will say, I did it because. They will never say, I'm sorry. Number six, to some people, it feels like a loss of power or a loss of control. A loss of power or a loss of control. And that is why people never say sorry, because they want to hold on to that level of control that they have, or that little level of power they still have in them. And therefore, they feel that by saying sorry, they are letting go of the power. They are losing the power, they are losing control. And for them to hold on to that control, they'd rather not say, I'm sorry. They will maintain their level of having offended you and not taking ownership, because they feel that they will lose control if they say, I'm sorry. Some people struggle with expressing regret. Not everyone can express regret. I mean, when you show regret, when you express regret, is when you are able to show a person how remorseful you are for what you've done to them or for what you've said that came out wrong. And regret is saying, I so wish I never said that. Forgive me. That's being regretful. And there are not many people who want to bow down to that level of regret, or people who want to lower themselves down to that level of regret, and therefore they will just maintain their arrogance and their pride by not saying, I am sorry. Admitting wrongdoing can be difficult. That's what we need to understand. It can be very difficult, especially when we are used to being right most of the time. At times, as parents, we are unable to say sorry to our kids, and yet the right thing to say would be sorry, knowing that you have hurt them or knowing that you have disappointed them. And the wisest thing would be to say sorry. But because you feel that you are older than them, then you don't want to own up. You don't want to say, I'm sorry. And what are the consequences? What are the consequences of not saying sorry? What are the consequences of not saying sorry? Before I go there, I just want to read my wife's comment there. She says, sorry is not easy, especially when you were warned about the same thing that got you into trouble. Over the years, I learned to humble myself and say sorry. Yeah. It's all about humility. It's all about being humble. Humble yourself and just say sorry. And you will not lose anything. You will not lose anything. But people try to hold on to their ego, and they don't want to get their ego bruised. Therefore, they are unable to say, I'm sorry. What are the consequences of not saying sorry? It strains relationships and impedes your personal growth. There are many love relationships who never survived simply because somebody was unable to say sorry, knowing they have done wrong. But they were not humble enough to say, I'm sorry, knowing they've hurt the next person. Some people have divorced because of what I'm talking about, simply because people will not own up and say, I am sorry. Some people have broken long-term relationships, and as a result, they've lost those friends and they've come out of those circles because they were prideful enough not to lower themselves and to say, I am sorry. Number two, what are the consequences of not saying sorry? This behavior has a reputation for destroying bonds that once thrived. Imagine if you were friends with somebody for a very long time, and simply because you can't come forward and say, I'm sorry, when you have hurt them very deeply, and your pride does not allow you to say sorry. At times, you will have to say bye bye to that relationship because some people will not continue with you until you say sorry. And that's how many relationships have ended. Certain people were not able to lower themselves and to come forward and say, I am sorry. Yeah. Yes. Praise the Lord. And Oshegu says, saying sorry does not always mean that I am wrong. Please elaborate on that one. Please elaborate on that one. Because obviously, at times, um, when we say sorry, we must have done something to somebody because that's why we are saying sorry. Otherwise, why would we say, I'm sorry? I know probably maybe you might be coming from the angle of saying, for peace sake, I'm sorry. And then that's not really sorry. That's not really sorry. You're saying sorry because you want peace. But people who must say sorry are people who have done wrong. People who have done wrong, they must own up and apologize. And Mr. Marema says, it's never easy. It's never an easy thing to say when you have pride. Absolutely. And we must also remember that the Bible teaches you and I that pride comes before the fall and humility comes before honor. The moment you're prideful, it's the moment you're about to fall, and you're going to fall very hard. So at times it is very wise to own up to our mistakes, to own up to our actions, and to really come forward to say, I'm really sorry and please forgive me. And why is it important to apologize? Why is it important to apologize? Number one, it shows the offended person that you care about them. It shows the offended person that you care about them and that your relationship with them is as important to you. Because at times when you don't apologize and at times when you don't bother apologizing, for some people it feels like they are not important in your life. Therefore, they might as well walk out of your life because you don't value them. You don't value them. So, um, saying sorry or apologizing shows the offended person that you care about them and that your relationship with them is as important to you. Number two, it conveys remorse and acknowledgement of having caused hurt. It demonstrates remorse for the pain inflicted. That's what saying sorry does. It demonstrates remorse for the pain you have inflicted on the next person. The last one, number 3, it prompts those in a relationship to let go and stop living in the past. It prompts those in a relationship to let go and stop living in the past. The moment you say sorry, it's the moment we let bygones be bygones and we move on with our lives as if what happened did not really happen, because we own up to it, and therefore we are moving forth. And I say sorry, you accept my apology, and then we are back as friends, we are back as lovers, we are back in this business relationship simply because you said sorry. So let's learn to master the courage to say sorry for our wrongdoings. Let's learn to master that. Patricheza says, literally, saying sorry is not easy, but not saying sorry can cause more damage than good. Yeah, there are many people who are unable to say sorry. No matter what they have caused you, no matter the pain they have caused you, but they never come forward to actually own up and say, I am sorry. And sometimes saying sorry, it heals the pain in somebody. The inflicted pain in that particular person begins to heal because they can see that you really are saying sorry. And you are saying sorry in a manner that they realize that the way you are saying sorry, it truly shows that you did not really mean to harm them or to hurt them. So it is important. It is important that we say sorry to others. Don't be so prideful that you can't own up to your mistakes. Don't be so arrogant that you can't come down to the person, to the other person's level, the person that you have hurt. Don't be so arrogant that you don't want to give back to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. You must always take ownership. We must take ownership of our actions, because sometimes we hurt people with our words. We hurt people with the things that we say. At times when we retaliate in a bad way. And at times we have to own up and say, even though I can't take back my words, but I want you to please forgive me for the pain I've caused you. I did not really mean to say that. Please forgive me for that. And people will respect you for that. But there are people who are too proud to say sorry. We are too proud to say, I'm sorry I hurt you. And at times we have to. We have to own up. We have to come forward and say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Puti, I'm sorry. Sisi, I'm sorry. My dear friend, I'm sorry. You must be so humble enough or have the courage enough to say, I am really sorry. I've hurt you and I will never do it again. Forgive me for that. Forgive me for that. Pride does not allow people to do that. Yeah. Yes, Patricheza. Patricheza says, be man enough to take responsibility for our actions. Be man enough to take responsibility for our actions. Yeah. Pastor Gift says, sorry is short, is a short word with just only 5 letters, but not easy to say. Yeah, it's never easy. It's never easy. And that's why I say there are very few people who can say, I am sorry. Not many can say sorry, but there are those very few people who can say, I am sorry for the pain I have caused you. I am sorry for having hurt you. I'm sorry for what I've done to you. That, for me, is humility. That, for me, it's a blessing. It's valuing your relationship with that particular person. It's owning up and making sure that there is longevity in that relationship instead of being prideful enough to just walk away knowing that you have hurt somebody, walk away knowing that you've said what you were not supposed to say, knowing that you have done that person or you've done something very wrong to that particular person and you are unable to say sorry. A good friend of mine who's late today, at one time He did something very wrong to me at school, and we were very close. We were very close. We were best buddies actually, and he did something that I wasn't really expecting him to do, and it's something that I never saw coming, and it was very painful. It hurt me, and obviously, some friends intervened to say, yeah, but how could he do something like that and all those things? And obviously, people who have spoken to him to say, but what you did was wrong and all those things. And I remember this man, you know, owning up. He used to stay in town at the time. I was in the township at home in Fosloras, and he borrowed his mother's car. He drove to Fosloras, and knowing that I did not even want to see him, but he owned up to his mistake. And he was ready to take anything from me. He was ready to take even punches from me because I was very angry at him. But he showed up and he knocked. And by simply him walking in the door, you know what? I became harmless because he humbled me. He humbled me. I did not expect somebody who had me at that level to actually show up, not with anyone, but by himself, and not knowing what to expect, but he came. And we sat down. He apologized. He said, I've come to apologize. I've come to own up. What I did to you was very wrong. Please forgive me. That's what we need. That's what we need in this generation, in our lives, in the relationships that we are in friendships that we are in. For some of us, those who are married, you need that kind of character to be able to say sorry when you've done wrong. And we need to, it's a muscle we have to exercise. It's a muscle we have to grow and to exercise all the time. I agree, it's not easy. At times it's difficult to even myself, but it's a good thing to do. It's the right thing to do, to say, I'm sorry. Thank you, family, for tuning in. I really appreciate your time. And, when you don't engage, we don't last long. But if you engage, then we can talk and I will respond to your questions. But not many of you are engaging today. But thank you so much for tuning in. It really was a blessing. And I appreciate your consistency. We are, I think, 2 weeks away from our shutdown. We'll be streaming live for the last time on the 11th of December. I just want to check my calendar quickly as I speak to you. Just want to check where my calendar is to see how many weeks do we have to go before we shut down. I also need some time off as well. Okay. Where is the next calendar now? You know what? Bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. We are done. I just want to check my calendar for praise the Lord. There we are. There we are. So yeah, we are 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away from our shutdown. On the okay, next week is the 4th. It will be the second last week, and then on the 11th, it's our last day of streaming Wednesdays with Pastor K for the year 2024, and we will revert back again in January towards the end of the month. I think towards the last week of January, that's when I'll be back at work. And but thank you so much for all your support throughout 2024. It's been great and it's been a blessing. Yeah. Bafana Ngosi says, this is deep, Dad. Relationships can be either broken or strengthened by saying sorry or not saying anything. Thank you, Dad. I am learning. God bless you. God bless you. Awesome, man of God. Awesome. Yeah. Let's see. I just saw. Oh, my wife says 2 more Wednesdays. Yes, absolutely. 2 more Wednesday. Then we are done. So yeah, if you have not yet purchased my book, please invest in this resource. It will bless you. It sells only for 200 Rand. And if you don't understand your calling, this will bless you. You must remember, not only pastors are called, but each and every person here on earth is called. A calling is a call to purpose. It's a call to purpose. So when God calls you here on earth, calls you to planet Earth, He calls you here on planet Earth for a purpose. Invest in this book. You can DM me if you want the book, or you can get it on our website, www.blackiconic.co.za, and also from www.thehouseofprayerministries.co.za. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week, same place, same time. God bless you.